Okay, First Esdras, chapter 4, verse 26. Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women, and become servants for their sakes. Many also have perished, have erred, and sinned for women. Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth, and just want to take the water toward the H.I.M and Akwaf. That's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai to the best of their ability. Oh, this is Hanan the Waf. It's coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. And this is just one of 3 stories that I pulled up. I used that particular scripture for this particular one. With this guy right here, Stephen Tyler Whitehead. You know, I guess he ended up pew-pewing this young lady in the head. And, you know, she's pretty much bought out of there. You know, she's still alive supposedly, but, you know, it's not looking good on that end. But it says there is no surgery that will give her life, basically, right? Cheerleader left brain dead after fight over girl during a bonfire. Police and family say 27-year-old Alabama man, which is some Alabama shit, you know what I'm saying? Because she's in high school. This nigga 27. Like, what you doing at a bonfire with these niggas? Anyway, 27-year-old Alabama man stands accused of murder, you know what it is, in the shooting of a high school cheerleader and 3 others during a party at a bonfire in a rural area known as the Pit. That sounds like some Alabama shit. Stephen Tyler Whitehead is behind bars in the shooting of 18-year-old Kimber Mills early Sunday. A Jefferson County Sheriff's Office said in a press release that its deputies responded shortly after midnight. Okay, a couple of miles outside of Birmingham there. When they arrived, they found Mills suffering from a gunshot wound along with 2 men, ages 18 to 21. Deputies later learned that a 20-year-old woman also was shot and was taken to the hospital by a friend. So I wanted to kind of go off into these subjects or these topics, articles, to just show, you know, Esau, and this is not a color thing neither, you know what I'm saying, but, you know, shit just got Edomite written all over it by the Spirit, you know, but it's not a color thing. It's no such thing as black people or white people. It's just different shades of red people on the planet and different shades of brown people. And these people that are calling themselves white, they're Edomites. They come from Abraham, Isaac, and Esau. And the people that they're actually labeling as black are Israelites. They come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you know, come from those 12 tribes or the 12 sons of Jacob, which his name was changed to Israel or Yasha'Allah in the Hebrew tongue. So it's not a color thing. And because of our captivity and because we've been boated around the world, shipped around and scattered throughout the 4 corners of the earth, our men have had sex with the women of those other nations. And there are Israelites everywhere scattered looking like every single race under the planet. Because your seed goes through your father. And that's according to not Leviticus, Salakia. Numbers, the book of Numbers, chapter 1, verse 18. It goes into your pedigree, your lineage. Your lineage goes through your father, man. Your lineage has absolutely nothing to do with your mother's line or her family tree, so to speak, you know. Because the mother comes from a father. Because children are within the man to begin with in the form of sperm. Those are the children, so they are what the male is. So we always have to explain that, you know, for new believers. But anyway, as you can see, either one of these could be an Israelite. They both could be Israelites or they both could be Edomites. But this sounded like some Edomite shit. But okay, so it says Mills is still alive, but her family expects that she will be declared dead in the coming days. She has too much trauma to her brain, her sister told the outlet. If she survives, she would be on a breathing and feeding tube the rest of her life. There's no surgery that will give her a life worth living. Well, and you know, and we know that life and death belong to the Lord, the issues of life and death. Let's get that real quick. Old Testament, Psalms chapter... Psalm 68 and 20. He that is our God is the God of salvation. And unto Yahweh the Lord belong the issues from death. Right? So the Lord, he's the one actually that wounds and make alive. Let me get that one real quick. Psalms 32 and 39. See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. So we know that it's the Lord Yahweh, H.I.M that has this lady, this young lady in this particular situation, right? She was a senior cheerleader. Her classmates have had several prayer vigils on her behalf. Well, you know, it's all on Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. But you know who they praying to? They're praying to idolatrous white Jesus. And the Lord's name is not Jesus, man. His name is Yahushai, which means that he's the Savior or deliverer in the Paleo Hebrew. And the true name of the Father is Yahweh, which means that he exists with the existing one. We have to always explain that as well. Because again, we have a lot of new believers or a lot of newcomers that's coming into this truth. They need to know the true names of the Father and Son, because those names are deadly. You have to have those names right. You have to have those names correct. You have to know who you're calling on when you're praying. Because see, these people that's with this prayer vigil, they're actually praying to an idol. And it's not going to get them anywhere, you know. All right, so it says, yeah, of course, she was known for a positive attitude. Of course, they're going to say all that good stuff. You can't just start up a conversation with her no matter what. It was always just a delight to talk to her. Yeah, all that good stuff. She's the type of person, too, if you run out of money and you don't have enough, she'll definitely give you money, her friend. If you don't have something, she'll give you something. She's just the type of person, all that good stuff. That shit goes nowhere when it comes straight down to it, you know what I'm saying? You know, don't get me wrong. I mean, alms, you know, the scripture talks about alms, you know, how it can, you know, actually cloak your sins, so to speak, roughly paraphrasing for lack of better words. You know, alms goes a long ways, or giving, or, you know, giving of your substance, so to speak, you know. It goes a long ways. It's definitely, that's something that's spoken of, you know, something that we all should be praying for and working on ourselves, you know, because alms do go a long ways, giving, you know, but you also have to know how you're giving and why you're giving, so to speak, you know. But don't get me wrong, you know, you reap what you sow, so to speak, you know what I'm saying? It's like a farming situation when it comes to life, you know. What you put out, you get back, you know, and that goes for everybody, actually, in reality. All the people that are on the planet, you know what I'm saying? That thing goes with pretty much overall all human beings, you know. But it's mainly us Israelites that accept the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, because it was actually given to us to move in that manner, so to speak. But let's see what else is in. That's pretty much was it on that particular article. But now I also asked ChatGPT too a question about the, you know, East, you know, well, pretty much, do immigrants or so-called white men commit more crime in America? And of course, you know the answer. So we can get to that. But let's get these other two articles real quick to just show you how be moving out here, man. This one right here, this guy right here, he said his brother shot him. Man slaughters 3 before crashing Dodge Caravan into Buc-ee's, pinning a woman to sales display. Plus, this guy, he shot himself in the head too. So, but you know, of course, it's not a skin color thing, but it's some Edomite type shit. You know, because there are Israelites that look just like this guy. So we can't just say that he's an Edomite or so-called white man, because colors, that shit don't exist. But let's get to the point of what he done. He pretty much, the deceased are Kimberly Simpson, 51, Connie Patrick, 72, Ronnie Hammonds, 57. So he killed 3 rather older people here, in a sense. They each suffered gunshot wounds. Now, one of them was somebody also. Hold on, let me see here. Okay, so I'm assuming the Ronnie Hammonds guy, 57, which he probably was just really beefing with, and everybody else maybe probably got into it and probably tried to stop the shit. But it says he suffered blunt force trauma and multiple stab wounds. So not only did he shoot this nigga, he beat the shit out of him and stabbed him up too. So you know that pure rage. Two others who were shot and hospitalized were identified as Colton Reed, which this guy Reed, 24. I'm thinking that's the brother because he got the same name as his last name as this guy. And Henry Hopgood, 70. So damn, man, what did you shoot all the old people for? Their conditions were unknown. Okay, says Reed shot the group at a home. He fled in a minivan. The woman he allegedly hit at Buc-ee's is expected to survive after suffering non-life-threatening injuries. Reed's condition after shooting himself in the head was unclear. See, that's why I'm thinking this, I don't know. This sounded like some Edomite shit. Not that niggas don't be doing stuff, but damn. So, police have not yet said what charges he will face if he survives. Because, yeah, you know, who knows? Could have been, you know, I guess he would have to have his say, and they would have to know really what really happened, you know, from his side. This could have been some beef, could have got into it with one of them. He might say self-defense, but either way, you know what I'm saying? Hey, his ass don't appear to be making it neither, you know. And again, man, you don't have no lessons to do. Just pull up Law and Crime, man. There's plenty of shit in there that you can go to. Let's get this next article, though. And this one right here. 4-inch slash to his left vertebral artery. Man deleted mail carrier in front of his mother after telling neighbors to stop filming the ordeal so he could handle it. Look at this guy. That's the knife right there, too. God damn. Yeah, you know, yeah, he was getting busy with that boy there. Golly. Look at this guy. Typical Edomite shit, man. You know, again, like I said, you know, there are Israelites that look like this guy, so we can't just look at the skin color and say, all right, this is a Edomite. But this got Edomite written all over it, bro. But let's get into some of the article and you'll see. An Oregon man was found guilty of stabbing a U.S. Postal Service mail carrier, and I think, you know, that's some different type of time right there, because you know, these are like public servants, so to speak. Chad Michael Westover, 53. Damn, he look older than 53 though. I don't know. Anyway, was convicted last week of second-degree deletion, an unlawful use of weapon, in the death of 43-year-old Tristan Salvatore Thomas. Okay, they were scuffling when the non-convicted murderer told pals to stop filming the ordeal so he could handle it. He attacked Thomas with a kitchen knife as the victim's mother looked on. You know that nigga. Nigga, you still living with your mama, nigga? That's some Edomite shit. Several neighbors and Thomas' mother yelled at Westover, who was on top of Thomas and stabbing him with the kitchen knife to halt the assault. Westover was also injured during the altercation. Thomas was stabbed several times and suffered a 4-inch slash to his left vertebral artery. The suspect fled the scene but was arrested a few days after the attack. His lawyers claim Thomas was the aggressor and was an unreasonable and unstable man who was drunk on the night of the crime. Ooh, that don't even make no sense. Okay, so maybe I'm missing something. Maybe they knew each other. You're saying he was drunk on the night of the crime? It says that Thomas was the aggressor and was an unreasonable and unstable man who was drunk on the night of the crime, prosecutor said. I don't get that part. Was he on duty or was he off duty? I don't know. Maybe he was off duty. Who knows? Maybe he knew this nigga. They was friends and drinking buddies, probably. Okay, it says the ordeal actually began earlier in the day when Thomas confronted a neighbor over the way he parked his motorcycle at the apartment complex where they both lived there. Stewart allegedly assaulted Thomas, sending him to the hospital. Deputies did not believe there was enough probable cause for an arrest, the affidavit stated. So this is a totally different guy here. After receiving treatment, Thomas returned from the hospital later on the day. Meanwhile, Stewart and Westover were at a party in the complex. Oh yeah, all right, yeah, there's some Edomite shit. Complex hosted by 48-year-old Samantha S. Christensen. At some point, Stewart received a call from his teenage daughter claiming that she was being followed by a strange man in the complex The affidavit said Stewart, Westover, and Christensen left the party to investigate. They reportedly determined the man was Thomas, who was allegedly carrying a butcher knife. Yeah, okay, so the mailman not innocent either, huh? Much of what occurred next was captured by the neighbors, taking video of the altercation. In the call, Thomas told dispatchers that 4 people, later identified as Stewart, the teen daughter, Westover, and Christensen, were outside of his apartment, and he feared for his safety. A video taken by neighbors allegedly shows Westover say, "If you guys are done filming, I'll take care of it." Damn. To which Christensen, who is the defendant's cousin, replies, "I'm done. Take care of it." Oh, there you go. He goes off screen, apparently attacks Thomas. During the altercation, Thomas repeatedly screams for help as Westover assaults him. Stewart yells at Westover to let him go. All that good stuff. Neighbors taking the video urges someone to call 911 because there's a lot of blood. Said the assault lasted 5 minutes. He allegedly then threw the knife atop Thomas and walked away. After leaving Mr. Thomas in a pool of his blood, he left the scene with Samantha Christensen. At no point called 911. In fact, I know that Samantha Christensen took Mr. Thomas's phone from the scene. And when 911 called back from the drop call, she told them that everything was fine. Damn. She turned herself in. All right, all that good stuff. Okay, so they said that the mailman attacked first with a butcher knife and sliced him under the eye and stabbed him under the rib cage. She took photos of his injuries. Investigators called the placement of the wounds curious and noted he had no defensive wounds. Yep. So they probably, if anything, probably stabbed himself, you know, trying to make it look like. But, you know, this is Edomite shit, you know. And let me just get this one. 2 Thessalonians 2:3, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And that's why I wanted to kind of do this lesson, because, you know, see, Esau, he's been going in on our people. He's been going in with his false data, you know, his pseudoscience, and trying to make it seem as if Jake is just so damn violent, which Jake is violent, don't get me wrong. You know, I'm not, you know, accounting for the actions of Jake, man, because Jake wicked as hell in this kingdom. But Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the one that actually runs this kingdom, no, he's the wicked. And the scripture says he's the border of wickedness. And this man of sin, the son of perdition, he's being revealed today as being the wicked. And that's the problem that Esau really has. This is some of the stuff that Trump is trying to somewhat wipe the slate clean. And he's trying to, you know, get rid of his violence out of these museums, things that he's done to the Israelites. And he's trying to make it seem as if he's this beautiful man. Because look at all these school shootings that have been happening. It's them. You know, the Charlie, the Captain Kirk situation where they gunned his ass down at that university. It was a so-called white man, supposedly. You know? And there was a couple of mass shootings that particular week that it was, you know, that Esau had done. A couple of other heinous things that he had done. Motherfucker ran one of them ran a damn truck with the American flag on the back of it into a damn church, burnt the damn church down, gunning down a whole bunch of parishioners. And that was so-called white-on-white crime. There wasn't no so-called black people there. Now, don't get me wrong, Jake get out here and they'll pull a gun out and get to letting that bitch go, and they hitting everything except for the person that they supposed to be hitting, and they'll hit a couple other people and they'll call it a mass shooting. But when it comes to Esau, this shit is calculated, man. You know? So I asked ChatGPT, right? This right here. Oh, Salakia. Still got it right here. So I just put in who. Oh shit, that's why I probably can't. Well, they done it though. Spell that shit wrong as hell. Who commits more violent crimes in America, immigrants or white men? Okay, so it says there's no credible evidence to support claims that immigrants commit more violent crimes than white men in the U.S. In fact, the research indicates the opposite. See? So these immigrants that Trump is talking about committing all these violent crimes, don't get me wrong, you do have a few violent crimes that have happened, you know, a dozen, maybe 2 dozen, maybe three dozen, but nowhere near what Esau be doing, right? But it says, in fact, the research indicates the opposite, and the comparison is complicated by how the population differs in size, demographic composition, age, and gender. and how the data are collected. Below is a breakdown of what we know and the caveats. What we do know about immigrants. Studies show that immigrants, both legal and undocumented, tend to have lower rates of incarceration and conviction for violent crime compared with U.S.-born individuals. Why? Because they don't be committing no crimes like that, man. You got Jake, man, be coming here. Matter of fact, there's a bunch of them that moved into the neighborhood. Them people don't be bothering nobody, man. Them people peaceful as hell. They do their little thing. I see them in a little liquor store, you know, sometimes they be, you know, have a box of damn Modelo's. They like to drink their beer. You know, they have, you know, some Coronas or something like that. And shit, they play their little music and they be barbecuing like how Jake be barbecuing. That's how you know they Jake. They be doing the same shit. Just got a little bit of different style. They don't be bothering nobody, man. Honestly, I've never seen no police pulling up, you know what I'm saying? I did see, this was maybe a year or so back. I did see one of them little Northern Kingdom, little hot mama, little Issachars rolling up on her man in the, you know, in the hood over here and was going in on his ass. That's why I knew she was a Jake or Eve too, you know. But that's the only time I had seen, but it wasn't like nothing like that. She jumped back in her car and she got the fuck on. But other than that though, I mean, just in general, I see them, man, and they just, you know, be chill, they peaceful. I see them in the supermarket, they doing their thing, they do their shopping. The kids are mannerable and shit like that. So they not the ones that's out here doing all this violent shit, man, like how Esau trying makes it seem. And that's how he does, man. He's the accuser of the brethren. That's exactly what's going on with this guy. He's the accuser of the brethren out here, man. So it says, for example, one analysis finds that from 2017 to 2023, so up to like 2 years ago, or maybe a year and a half or so ago, immigrants were about 44% less likely to be victims of violent crime than U.S.-born persons. The authors tie this to lower offending in immigrant communities because they're not doing shit to they not like that, really like that. You know, you got problems with, you know, in all neighborhoods with certain shit, but them people don't be bothering nobody like how Esau trying to make it seem like they're bothering people. Them people are hard workers, man. Them our brethren, man. They work hard as shit. Another report states that U.S.-born citizens are 10 times more likely than immigrants to be incarcerated for weapons-related offenses, 5 times more likely for violent offenses, right? So we can see it. Bottom line, on a per-person basis per capita, immigrants do not appear to commit violent crimes at a higher rate than native-born Americans. If anything, they appear to commit them at a lower rate. There you go, man, ChatGPT. What we can't directly compare, the question immigrants versus white men, is tricky because white men is a large, diverse group, U.S.-born and immigrant, varying age, etc. So here you go with, you know, ChatGPT with the bias bullshit. Well, okay, all these immigrants, you know, they're immigrants that are of the so-called white race from all these different little countries, man. They're all Edomites, though. Because, again, no one is white, man. There's no such thing as white people. These are Edomites. Esau. But it says, U.S.-born and immigrants varying in ages, etc. Most crime rate data don't neatly break down white men by immigration status. So direct apples-to-apples comparisons are difficult. Many studies compare immigrants versus U.S.-born rather than immigrants versus white men only. Okay, well, I asked for white men only, though, because you've got the stats on both, so. The U.S.-born population includes all races and ethnicities. Well, that's not what I asked, and it shouldn't be that. You know, because these people, they actually commit more crimes than all the other so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans put together, man. Demographic factors matter a lot. Crime rates are higher among younger males. So a group, age, gender composition affects its rates of violent offending. Most publicly available data don't reliably insert immigration status for offenders. Many data sets simply record foreign born or native born or don't note status at all. Some states, Texas, are exceptions and show lower offenders rates among, see, but in Texas you will have, you know, it's saying that it's lower offender rates among undocumented immigrants there, see? So Esau been lying. Raw counts are misleading, okay? What matters is the rate per population of that group. Now, getting to the point, it says, what we know about white men in violent crimes. In general, crime statistics male offenders dominate violent crime. For example, in one data set, the majority, 79% of violent crime incidents had male offenders. The FBI uniform crime reporting data shows that whites, non-Hispanics, constitute the largest racial group in the U.S., so in number terms, they also constitute a large share of arrests simply because the population is large. For example, in 2020, the number of adult arrests for violent crimes offenses identified as white was 188,860 compared to 108,010 for blacks. So they pretty much see, they try and play them number games and try and still throw those statistics around like Jake is just the problem, and when in reality it's really Esau, man. Immigrants on average commit fewer violent crimes per capita. White men as a broad demographic contribute. See, they trying to make it seem as a broad demographic. No, you're doing the most violent crimes anyway. And then they're see, in these types of statistics, they don't factor in the fact that, okay, a crime against humanity is giving Jake fucked up water. A crime against humanity, so to speak, against our people is giving Jake fucked up foods, having these food deserts. You know, a crime against humanity is working Jake to the bone, not giving him what his just due, and then you taxing the shit out of him. You know, a crime against humanity as far as as far as so-called white people against us, as well as their curriculum. Us having to send our children to their schools, and our children learn the bullshit that they push on our people. Think about how many of our people have been deleted as far as like Esau pushing abortion on our people. Think about the millions and millions and millions. See, these are the things that they don't factor in when it comes to Esau. Not to mention that, yeah, he's robbing the banks. He's robbing more banks. He's number one when it comes to the NCEST. He's number one when it comes to PEDOs. You know what I'm saying? The pedos, the F-files. You know what I'm saying? He's the one that's out here that, when it comes to straight dismembering his mama, or you know what I'm saying? He deletes the family, the dog, and himself. You know, he's the one out here, cutting down all the goddamn trees to make golf courses, and he hunts every damn animal to extinction. So let's just straight get down to the boogie. This is just a couple of things that's being named off. We're not gonna even talk about this man flying over cities and countries and bombing the shit out of people. Chemical warfare, his pharmaceuticals, his drug manufacturing and shit like that. Here you go. You got one of this man's most wickedest holidays coming up on some Halloween shit, and these people will be out here trafficking, kidnapping kids, and doing all kinds of shit, man. Putting damn poison in the candy, sticking damn needles, and just a bunch of crazy shit, man. Then we ain't gonna even talk about just the situation that he places people in during his Christmas holidays, which supposed to be their most peaceful time of the year. But you got more robberies and thieveries and carjackings and murder and all this other shit on this man's holidays than any other time of the year, really. Cheap ass drinks, his drugs, the foods, people are all sickly. These are things that come from him. You can go to a damn hospital when you're trying to get treatment, and you'll come out of there worse than you were before you went in there, man, in this man's kingdom. So, again, it doesn't factor in all that Esau does. See, only the Lord knows to the extent of how wicked this man really is. Well, we can see the Lord gives us, he's given us tokens to see that this man is the wicked, though. But the Lord knows all of his schemes, man. The Lord knows everything that this man got in play, man. This dude got fucking places where he's dealing with, diseases, man, like CDC, Central Disease Control Centers and shit. What you think they doing with the diseases in there? They're not just throwing that shit into no incinerator and burning it up once they find out what it is. No, they playing with it. They mixing it with this or mixing it with that. Turn that shit into a damn weapon, man, and let it go in a community, man. And test it mainly on Jake, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. So, again, there's just a few things. I just seen this article, these couple of articles, and then I typed that in with Chat GPT. But bottom line is, it's basically telling you that the crimes that Esau is trying to tell you on this 444 too. That's all praises to Yahweh H.I.M. I need that mercy. But it's basically, in this Chat GPT, it's telling you straight up that the immigrants that they're saying, are these violent criminals. Remember Trump? He ran his campaign on that. Chat GPT just broke all that shit down. Like, nope, it's not them. It's you so-called white people. So it is what it is, man. We know this is how Esau gets down. He's the accuser of the brethren. And there's plenty of these stories, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just scroll through this shit. You just see, come on, bro. We ain't going to even talk about what the story after story after story, bro. But they try and throw, don't get me wrong, Jake out here doing some shit. Yeah, a lot going on out here. Ugh, what's going on here? Damn, nigga, what the fuck is your problem? Who's that, just found out I have AIDS and stage 4 brain cancer. Yeah, you looking rough. That look like an Edomite, too. Looking rough there, guy. Yeah. Well, that's pretty much about it, man. I just wanted to touch on this for a hot sec. Woo. Isn't that something? Off-duty Michigan firefighter dies after explosion at his home. What a day. That's like a oxymoron right there. You a fighter fire and your ass died from an explosion. Look at this nigga here, boy. Yeah, man. Yeah, a bunch of shit. All right, well, we can end out there, man. There's a lot going on in the world, man. So with that, hey, pray that the lesson was edifying. Kwam Yashala in the Bible ball. Hey, walk circumspectly and be careful around Esau. We say that all the time, man. Now is not the time to be, just acting as if this man is your goddamn friend. He's never been your friend, and don't let him fool you into coming to a damn bar after work, man, or going out to have dinner, or going camping or fishing with his ass, man, because he'll knock your ass off, man. Scripture says to stay away from the man that has the power to kill, and this is that guy, Esau Edom, the so-called white man. So with that, shalom.